In a seemingly perfect suburban home, a successful businessman is found critically injured, a chilling note beside him hinting at deep seated betrayal. As the investigation unfolds, a web of jealousy, secrets, and hidden agendas is revealed. With every clue, the truth becomes more elusive, leading to a shocking conspiracy that threatens to shatter lives beyond repair. Jack Monroe was born on July 15th, 1972. Growing up in a modest, blue collar family, Jack learned the value of hard work from an early age. His father, a mechanic, and his mother, a school teacher, instilled in him a strong work ethic and an unwavering determination to succeed. Despite their limited financial resources, Jack excelled both academically and athletically, earning a scholarship to a prestigious business school. After graduating with honors, Jack embarked on a career in the automotive industry. His charisma and sharp business acumen quickly set him apart from his peers. At the age of 28, he founded Monroe Motors, a small car dealership that would eventually grow into a thriving enterprise. Jack's knack for spotting lucrative opportunities and his ability to foster strong relationships with clients contributed to the rapid success of his business. By his mid 30s, Jack had established himself as a prominent figure in the industry. Monroe Motors expanded into multiple locations, and Jack's reputation for savvy deals and innovative marketing strategies earned him respect and admiration. His success also allowed him to acquire a lavish mansion in an affluent suburb, complete with a fleet of luxury cars and a lifestyle that seemed to epitomize the American dream. Despite his professional achievements, Jack's personal life was far from perfect. His marriage to Sarah, his college sweetheart, was fraught with tension. Sarah had always been supportive, but as Jack's success grew, so did his ego. His frequent absences and growing list of infidelities created a rift between them. Jack's high profile affairs became a topic of gossip in the community, further straining their relationship. One of Jack's most publicized affairs was with Lena Miller, a strikingly beautiful and ambitious young woman. Their relationship, which began as a secret dalliance, quickly became the subject of media scrutiny. Lena, who had initially been captivated by Jack's power and influence, soon became entangled in a high stakes game of manipulation and deceit. Her presence in Jack's life added to the already strained dynamics of his marriage. Outside of his romantic entanglements, Jack was known for his philanthropy. He donated generously to local charities and sponsored numerous community events, often using these activities to bolster his public image. However, beneath the surface of his charitable endeavors lay a man increasingly driven by ambition and the need for control. As Jack approached his 50th birthday, his life seemed to be a paradox of success and turmoil. His business continued to thrive, but his personal life was in disarray. The luxury and prestige that once seemed so desirable now felt like a veneer hiding deeper issues. Jack's attempts to balance his professional success with his personal failures only exacerbated the underlying tension. Sarah Monroe was born on September 23rd, 1974. Raised in a close knit, working class family, Sarah learned early on the importance of resilience and kindness. Her father, a carpenter, and her mother, a nurse, were both hardworking individuals who emphasized the value of education and perseverance. A bright student with a natural talent for the arts, Sarah was known for her creativity and empathy. She excelled in school, earning a scholarship to attend a well regarded university where she majored in social work. Her passion for helping others and her gentle demeanor made her a beloved figure among her peers and professors. During her college years, Sarah met Jack Monroe, a charismatic and ambitious business student. Their relationship quickly blossomed into a deep and loving romance. Despite Jack's ambition and drive, Sarah found his qualities admirable, and the two were married shortly after graduation. Sarah's supportive nature and strong sense of duty made her a devoted wife, and she willingly embraced the role of partner in Jack's rising career. As Jack's business empire expanded, Sarah found herself living a life of luxury that seemed to be the culmination of her dreams. The couple moved into a sprawling mansion in an affluent suburb, and Sarah became deeply involved in the local community, using her skills to volunteer at various charities and social organizations. Her involvement in these causes earned her a reputation as a compassionate and dedicated community member. However, behind the veneer of their seemingly perfect life, Sarah struggled with the harsh realities of her marriage. Jack's frequent absences and affairs caused her significant emotional pain. While Sarah initially tried to maintain a facade of composure and grace, the strain of Jack's infidelities and the public scrutiny took a toll on her well being. Despite her personal challenges, Sarah remained steadfast in her commitment to her family and community. She continued to volunteer and support local causes, often diverting attention from her personal struggles by focusing on helping others. Her outward calm and dignified demeanor masked a growing sense of disillusionment and heartbreak. Sarah's relationship with Jack became increasingly strained, and she found solace in her close friendships, particularly with Linda Foster, who was her confidant and support system. Sarah's interactions with Linda revealed the depth of her emotional struggle and her growing frustration with her tumultuous marriage. On the crisp morning of October 12th, 2023, the tranquility of the affluent suburb was abruptly shattered by a dramatic discovery. The estate of Jack Monroe, a well known and successful car dealership owner, became the scene of a life threatening incident that would soon captivate the entire community. At approximately 7:30 a.m., the household staff at the Monroe estate arrived to begin their daily duties. Margaret Ellis, the head housekeeper who had been with the family for over a decade, was the first to encounter the alarming scene. As she made her way through the grand foyer of the sprawling mansion, she was met with a horrifying sight. Jack Monroe lay on the marble floor, critically injured from a gunshot wound to his shoulder. Blood pooled around him, and the scene was marked by a sense of chaos and urgency. Margaret, in a state of shock, immediately called out to the other staff members and then dialed 911. Her frantic call to emergency services conveyed the gravity of the situation. "Mr. Monroe is hurt badly, and there's so much blood," she cried, her voice trembling with fear and urgency. Within minutes, the first responders arrived at the scene. Paramedics quickly assessed Jack Monroe's condition and transported him to the hospital, where doctors worked desperately to stabilize him. The police, led by Chief Robert Thompson, arrived shortly after and began securing the scene. The mansion, once a symbol of opulence and success, was now cordoned off as a crime scene. Residents, who had long viewed Jack Monroe and his family as paragons of success and stability, were stunned by the violence that had intruded into their otherwise peaceful lives. The story quickly became a topic of conversation at local coffee shops, schools, and community gatherings. Social media platforms buzzed with speculation and theories about the shooting, with people discussing Jack's recent affairs and strained marriage and pointing fingers at potential suspects. The once serene neighborhood saw a sudden influx of journalists, photographers, and curious onlookers. The street outside the Monroe estate became a spectacle as the media descended on the area, eager for any scrap of information about the unfolding drama. The community, usually known for its calm and orderly nature, was now rife with gossip and conjecture. Amid the frenzy, a sense of unease settled in the community. The violence that had erupted in their quiet suburb made many residents question the safety and security of their own lives. The high profile nature of the case, coupled with the shocking details emerging about Jack Monroe's personal life, added an element of sensationalism that only heightened the community's anxiety. The police department, under the direction of Chief Robert Thompson, was tasked with managing the situation and ensuring a thorough investigation. Chief Thompson, known for his seasoned approach to high profile cases, took immediate action to contain the chaos and direct resources to the investigation. Detective Emily Harris, a respected investigator with a reputation for solving complex cases, was assigned as the lead detective. She arrived at the Monroe estate with her team, ready to begin the meticulous process of piecing together the events leading up to the shooting. Her first priority was to secure the crime scene and gather evidence. Upon arrival at the Monroe estate, Detective Harris and her team immediately began securing the crime scene. The grandeur of the estate, now shrouded in police tape and forensic markers, was a stark contrast to the grim reality of the situation. Forensic teams began a thorough search of the area, focusing on the grand foyer where Jack Monroe had been found. The focus was on collecting and documenting all potential evidence. One of the crucial pieces of evidence was the handwritten note discovered near Jack's body. The note, which read, "I'll never forgive you for what you did," was carefully bagged and sent for forensic analysis. Detectives were keen to determine if the handwriting matched any known samples of suspects or if it could provide insight into the motive behind the attack. The team also conducted a detailed search for physical evidence such as fingerprints, DNA, and any additional items that could be linked to the crime. They meticulously examined the area for any signs of forced entry, struggle, or unusual items that might suggest the presence of the perpetrator. Surveillance cameras around the estate were checked to determine if they had captured any relevant footage of the crime or suspicious activity. Detective Harris's first interviews were with the household staff, beginning with Margaret Ellis, the head housekeeper. Margaret's account of the morning's events was critical in establishing a timeline. She detailed her discovery of Jack Monroe and the immediate steps she took, including her phone call to 911. Her statements were cross-referenced with the physical evidence collected at the scene to ensure consistency. The next interviews focused on Jack's immediate family and close associates. Sarah Monroe, Jack's wife, was interviewed in detail about her whereabouts and actions on the morning of the shooting. Sarah claimed she had been out shopping and her alibi was scrutinized by Harris. Detective Harris cross-checked Sarah's account with store receipts and surveillance footage from nearby locations. Lena Miller, Jack's recent lover, was another key figure in the investigation. Lena's distress at the scene and her claim of being at home alone during the incident were examined. Her alibi was initially supported by a neighbor who had seen her car in the driveway, but Detective Harris needed to verify the full extent of Lena's whereabouts. David Clark, Lena's ex-boyfriend, was also a person of interest due to his tumultuous history with Lena. David's account of being at Jack's house to confront him was scrutinized. His explanation of his visit and the evidence of his presence at the scene were carefully evaluated. The physical evidence collected from the crime scene was subjected to rigorous analysis. Forensic experts examined the handwritten note for any clues about its origin, including the type of pen used and potential fingerprints. The note was compared to handwriting samples from suspects to identify potential matches. The clue-gathering phase was marked by a combination of meticulous attention to detail and strategic analysis. Detective Harris and her team worked tirelessly to piece together the fragments of evidence and testimony, aiming to uncover the truth behind the shooting and bring those responsible to justice. As Detective Emily Harris delved deeper into the investigation of the shooting at Jack Monroe's estate, several unexpected twists and turns emerged, complicating the case and adding layers of intrigue. One of the first significant twists came with the discovery of a substantial life insurance policy that Sarah Monroe had recently taken out on her husband. The policy, worth several $1 million, drew immediate attention from the detectives. It was revealed that Sarah had updated the policy just a few months before the shooting, making herself the sole beneficiary. This discovery led to a surge of speculation about Sarah's potential motives. Could the financial gain from Jack's death have driven Sarah to be involved in the crime? Detective Harris meticulously examined Sarah's alibi and financial records to understand the context of the insurance policy. While Sarah's apparent grief and distress over her husband's condition seemed genuine, the financial aspect of the policy raised questions that couldn't be ignored. Sarah provided a detailed explanation, asserting that the insurance policy was a standard financial precaution and that her actions were motivated solely by concern for her family's future. Despite her explanations, the detectives could not dismiss the possibility that the policy might have provided Sarah with a motive, making her a continued person of interest. The investigation took another turn when Detective Harris uncovered surveillance footage from a nearby camera that showed a shadowy figure entering the Monroe estate around the time of the shooting. The footage, while grainy and obscured, revealed a distinctive jacket worn by the figure. The jacket was notably similar to one seen in David Clark's possession. David Clark, Lena Miller's ex-boyfriend and a known source of tension, was questioned further about his whereabouts and the jacket. David admitted to having been at Jack's house recently, but claimed his visit was intended to confront Jack about his relationship with Lena, not to harm him. The footage raised questions about David's involvement and whether he was to the shooting. David's potential connection to the jacket and the timing of his visit were scrutinized in detail. Detective Harris cross-referenced David's statements with the surveillance footage and other evidence to determine if his involvement was more than just coincidental. As the investigation progressed, Detective Harris made a startling discovery: a hidden room within Jack Monroe's estate. The room, concealed behind a false wall in Jack's study, contained evidence suggesting that Lena Miller had been attempting to frame Sarah Monroe for the shooting. The room held a series of documents and personal items belonging to Lena, including photographs of Sarah and Jack, as well as drafts of letters and notes that appeared to be part of a plan to implicate Sarah in the crime. Among the items was a detailed account of Lena's grievances with Jack and her intentions to expose Sarah's alleged involvement. This revelation shifted the focus of the investigation. It became clear that Lena had been orchestrating a scheme to frame Sarah and divert suspicion away from herself. The hidden room provided crucial insight into Lena's state of mind and her motives. Detective Harris now had to unravel the full extent of Lena's plan and determine how David Clark was involved. In a dramatic turn, Detective Harris uncovered that Lena Miller and David Clark had conspired together to not only confront Jack Monroe, but also to execute a plan that would ultimately frame Sarah for the crime. Lena's intention was to eliminate Jack, gain access to his wealth, and place the blame on Sarah to avoid suspicion. Lena's confession revealed that she had orchestrated the attack with the intention of killing Jack and framing Sarah. David Clark, while initially appearing to be a prime suspect, was revealed to have been manipulated by Lena. His role in the scheme was more that of an unwitting pawn rather than an active participant in the murder. Lena's elaborate plan involved using David's presence at the scene and the hidden room to cast suspicion on Sarah. The final twist in the case was the revelation that Lena's plan had been meticulously executed, with the hidden room serving as evidence of her attempts to frame Sarah. Lena's confession not only cleared David of the most serious charges, but also provided a full account of the motives and methods behind the crime. The trial of Lena Miller and David Clark began in a packed courtroom, with the public and media closely following every detail. Lena faced charges of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and framing an innocent person. David Clark, initially a prime suspect, was charged with conspiracy and accessory to the crime. During the trial, Lena's elaborate scheme was laid bare. The prosecution meticulously presented evidence, including documents from the hidden room, surveillance footage, and Lena's own confession. The narrative painted a chilling picture of Lena's premeditated plan to kill Jack Monroe and falsely implicate Sarah. The prosecution argued that Lena's actions were driven by greed and jealousy, and her meticulous planning showed a cold, calculating mind. David Clark, who had cooperated with the investigation and testified against Lena, was portrayed as a misguided pawn in her scheme. The defense argued that David had been manipulated by Lena and was unaware of the full extent of her plan. His lawyer sought leniency by highlighting his cooperation and the fact that he had played a lesser role in the crime. The jury, after deliberating on the overwhelming evidence, found Lena Miller guilty on all charges. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a decision that reflected the premeditated nature of her crimes and the danger she posed to society. Lena showed little emotion as the verdict was read, her expression as cold and calculating as the crimes she had committed. David Clark was sentenced to 15 years in prison, with the judge acknowledging his cooperation and the lesser role he played in the conspiracy. His sentence was lighter, but it served as a reminder of the consequences of becoming involved in such a heinous crime, even as an unwitting participant. The verdicts provided a sense of justice for the Monroe family and the community, bringing closure to a case that had shaken their sense of security. The case became a cautionary tale about the dangers of deceit and manipulation, and the lengths to which some will go for revenge and personal gain. As the media frenzy died down and the community began to heal, the Monroe estate, once a symbol of success and luxury, stood as a somber reminder of the dark secrets that had unfolded within its walls. Sarah Monroe, having been exonerated, sought to rebuild her life away from the public eye. Her resilience, a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even the most harrowing of trials.